Welcome to the Komak Japan podcast, a series about real-life experiences in real-world Japan, hosted by Messi Sensei, JD, and yours truly, Andres. For today's episode, we'll be taking a look at a very particular and very interesting subject involving immigration in Japan, especially with recent developments occurring as we speak, as it is recording. So to lead us in, I'd like to pass the baton over to Messi Sensei.
Hey, what's up, man? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna cut this part. Yeah. So I was
What's up? It's your boy.
What's up, YouTube? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I just spent $10,000 traveling and finding the biggest house in Japan.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's do it. All right. And
Mr. Beast, more like Mr. Least.
so today we're going to talk about why Japan is increasing this visa renewal fees or visa application fees, and what other people think about it and what I think about it, right? So my personal opinion. So first of all, I think the price of applying for visa for Japan is ridiculously cheap. Like if you apply for a visa today, I think if I want to say it in Japanese yen, it's probably 2,000 or 2,000 to 4,000 yen, which is ridiculously cheap, right? It's even cheaper than going to Tokyo
Roughly.
Disneyland.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. It's that Tokyo Disneyland is at least like 7,000 yen per adult.
Yes. So I think personally, this is very cheap and has been cheap for almost 40, 50 years in Japan. And look, the economy in Japan has been stable. Like it has ups and downs, and probably I don't know, recent years I think it's been very bad, which I think it has to do with a lot of stuff. But I don't want to get into those political things here. But I think, for personal opinion, I think Japan has to do it now because I apply for many countries' visas, and it was ridiculously expensive. I pay a lot of money. And you know what is good about Japan? I should say here, you don't pay for the visa until you get the visa. Okay, which means if your visa is rejected, you don't pay for it. No other country is doing that. I know you guys are American. You probably never apply for a visa, but maybe you did for some countries. But many other countries, you have to apply. When you apply for a visa, first you have to pay for it. If it's accepted, of course, you already paid. If it's rejected, they are not going to refund the money. You guys didn't know that, right? Japan doesn't do that. Japan says you apply for your visa. If it's granted, then come and pay for it, which is, as I say, it's very cheap, right? So first of all, I want to say this because other countries seem to me is like they're ripping people off, first of all, because they can just reject you for any other reasons, which I think that's ridiculous because you pay a lot of money. I think you pay about 30,000 yen, if I'm not mistaken, for US and UK's visas. And the chances of getting the visa depends on where you're from and stuff like that, and what's the purpose of your visit. The chances of getting the visa is maybe 50-50, which means you're basically applying for a lottery, right? So you give them your money, you know it's not going to be refunded, and probably not going to get your visa. But to be fair, I think 4,000 yen for a foreigner who's going to Japan to actually work and live there is nothing. And if they want to increase it to 10,000 yen, it still is nothing, right? Because I believe Japanese economy has been very stable, okay? And also, the price of living is cheaper than the West or the US and Europe, right? So 10,000, honestly, I don't think it's that much. So I don't know what's all this noise about that foreigners are making about this topic on the internet. So yeah, it is my opinion. I think this is nothing compared to the rest of the world. So yeah.
I was going to say that, yeah, that certainly is interesting. I'm looking it up right now, and as far as I can tell, the visa renewal fee in the US is about $450 or $500. So let's say that's in the ballpark of like 40,000 to 50,000 yen. And I'm using the transference. I know like the value of the yen has gone down significantly.
Like
So let's just say like
What was it?
let's just say $500, 500 US dollars.
It's 78,000 Japanese yen today.
Yeah, so that's 78,000 yen. So even then, the visa renewal is, less than half of that. So it's not that big of an issue. And I do feel like one of the good things about being in Japan is that a lot of the more like as expensive as luxury items can be in Japan, the how do you call it? The more like things like rent, food, electricity, water, gas, the essentials have always been very affordable. So it does not surprise me that the cost of a visa renewal has always been and still is to an extent very affordable. So, back then it was like, let's say 4,000 yen for us, so which is like the vague equivalent of like $40. You pay US dollars, boom, you got your visa. And now it's jumped up from 40 to potentially 400. So I can see like the jump, like again, $300, $400. It's a decent chunk of change. It's decent chunk of cash, but it's not impossible. It's not like they're asking for $3,000, $4,000. But I think what may have people concerned is the huge spike, that huge jump from $40 to $400 or 4,000 yen to 40,000 yen, 30,000 yen. I think people are surprised by it and they're wondering, oh, if they can jump that much high, imagine how much higher it can potentially go in the future. And I think that's a thing that we see a lot in the news today, where people react to not what is in the news, but people are thinking about what can possibly happen as a result of the news. So it's like, because they're willing to jump this far, how much further are they willing to jump in the future? Now, we cannot predict what will happen in the future. We can only comment on the here and now. And so, despite the fact that, yes, it is a large jump, but I feel it is still affordable for anyone who does live in Japan, who does have a stable job, a stable living situation, and it's not going to affect people in the long run, unless you happen to be living paycheck to paycheck, which I don't know. And that's the part that I don't know and I cannot speak on, is how many people in Japan are living paycheck to paycheck, or living from, from one gig to another gig, or, people who don't have a stable income coming in. So for foreigners who are in a more difficult financial situation, maybe it might become an issue, but I don't see it being that much of an issue for many people. At least if we were people like if this was our situation, if we were still English teachers living abroad in Japan, I would not see that impacting our livelihoods all that much, especially since this is a one-time annual fee.
Yeah, sometimes every 3 years, depends on your
Or
visa.
if you happen to have a 3-year visa.
Sorry, JD.
Sorry, I would argue that there's also people who they're just looking at everything very surface level. There are a lot of people who just immediately impulsively act on their emotions and say, oh, it's racist. Oh, they don't like foreigners. And they're not really trying to look at the underlying reasons. That's what's exactly happening with American politics as well. It's just worldwide. I feel like people have turned their brains off, and they're making everything very emotional, and they're not really looking at the what the point of anything is. Also, I think the point of immigration, like the original point, is that you're not really supposed to import people who are going to be living paycheck to paycheck in your country. Like, that's not really the point. As Americans, we have this idea, the American dream or whatever. Let's go to America and be like super poor and do nothing to get out of this. We have every opportunity to actually make money. And you start to realize that when you start to make money, right? When you have a decent job, you're like, wait a minute, that wasn't that hard. Like, all I had to do was this, and this, and now I'm making this much money. Like, everyone can do that. And yeah, I think they can. And I think that if they're living paycheck to paycheck in Japan, they probably shouldn't be there, or there's something that's wrong. And if a lot of people argue, oh, we're getting exploited by businesses and they're not paying us that much or whatever. Okay, then that doesn't sound like, why would you want to work in Japan if you're getting exploited by like a business and they're not paying you enough to like live your daily life? I don't know. All those sounds like they all sound like pretty big problems, right? That you'd want to solve. Like, and people just don't try to solve them. Like, in my opinion, like they still stay stuck on, oh, well, I can't make any more money than this. Oh, it sounds like you got to go back to your country if this country doesn't seem like it's working out for you. And but even though I say all this, there's usually a reason. There's also very irresponsible people, foreigners who are just not taking care. They're not managing their finances. I know quite a few of them.
Yeah, we've met quite a few people during our time there.
Yes. So like look at yourself, right? Like you were able to do so much and you were not necessarily working for this super, you weren't getting like the greatest salary of all time in Japan and you still managed to do so many things with that. There's all kinds of people that go to Japan and not everyone is responsible with money. And that's another big problem. People have that issue in America. People have that issue in Japan, wherever. But that's certainly I don't think that's the fault of Japanese people. So and then that's these types of foreigners will often try to make it the fault of Japanese people. And I think it's usually it's look at you. It's a lack of accountability. These are all first world countries. So for us, it's the United States of America and Japan, first world countries. And these are a bunch of first world problems. I think people are a little spoiled and they're not accountable for their actions in both countries. Um,
Actually, I have to blame Japanese government here because I think they should have started this 40 years ago. They kept it so low for a long time. Now people are just surprised. Wait, you increase the price after 40 years this much? Because when these people apply to go to UK or any other countries, they don't ask why the visa price is too high, right? They go there because they want to go there, right? They go there because they want to study there. They go there because this is the destination they want to go to, right? So now when it comes to Japan, after 40 years, a good prime minister comes and decides to fix the problem that hasn't been fixed for many years. And some foreigners took advantage of this type of visas or whatever. She's trying to fix it, right? And now bunch of foreigners come and make noises on the internet and they say, wait, you want to increase the price of the visa fee? Why don't you increase the salaries? It has nothing to do with salaries.
Yeah, everyone has the chance to live comfortably in Japan. There's always going to be something for someone there. Even like the homeless situation in Japan is very, very minuscule. Not that it doesn't exist, but to be homeless in Japan, it's like you got to try hard to end up homeless over there.
Yes, like this lady says, if they want Western standards, why don't they want English speakers? Why don't they raise the salaries? Why they have work limits for foreigners and the English is weird. My work limits are only 18 hours per week. My monthly salary is only 60,000. How the hell am I going to pay that much? Whose problem is that? Okay. I mean, it has nothing to do with English speakers anyway, but probably, or maybe she's not American, but maybe she's complaining that she cannot teach like English speakers. I don't know. But it has nothing to do with the English and it has nothing to do with your salary.
Yeah, I think just to butt in really quick, I think that person is not giving us a ton of details. There's a lot. If she's restricted in those ways,
Yeah.
she might not even have like a working visa. And I think if the salary is so low, and I don't know, I think I got some fatigue being in Japan and every foreigner complaining about this and this and this about Japan and this is bad and this is bad. It's like, okay, then why are you here?
Yeah,
Like
if the salary is higher somewhere else, just go somewhere else, right?
and
So it's not about salary. I mean, if salary is low, but you also have the quality service you get, high quality services you get, and also on top of that, it's a stable. The economy is stable for many years. Like maybe 1 or 2 yen something is increasing every 2 3 years, right? And they are cheap. The food is cheap compared to the rest of the world, and the quality of service is higher. So I don't know what these guys are complaining about. And rent. Look at the rent in Japan, right? You basically can get an apartment for 30,000 yen.
Yeah, that's true.
Really?
At least like
Yeah.
in the countryside, yeah, that's pretty much how much I paid for my apartment. This is just a month's rent right here.
And
Yes, 1 month rent, save your money. We all live there. We all had the same issues. We cut some of our expenses, right? I don't eat sushi every day, right? I don't go Disneyland every month,
I don't buy Bandai premium toys every single week
right?
or every single month.
Again, we
And-
go back to that financial stability of some people and the problems they have in life. But I don't know why they compare it with Western countries. So
I mean, like
and
according to the article itself, the official explanation is that um, the fees must meet Western standards, and the government said that the extra money will go towards immigration inspection, Japanese language programs, and deportation of overstayers. All of which I feel like, if that is true, then that ends up being beneficial in the long run. In terms of deportation of overstayers, as far as I know, at least from my experience, I've never really seen them do anything to actively enforce these type of the restrictions. Let's say if my visa were to expire, what is stopping anyone from kicking me out of the country? Who is going to stop me from staying in the country? Like if I lay low and I don't do anything that requires me to show my visa to someone, to an official, a person or law enforcement or whatever, then yeah, I could potentially just live there as an illegal resident slash immigrant. So it's like, yeah, a program to actively enforce these rules. Sure, I can see that because from the way I saw it, there was no real system for getting rid of overstayers.
sorry to cut you off. So the police are profiling that Westerners are those like I guess the content that triggers a lot of Westerners is they stop me because I'm a foreigner. Yeah, I know people who have worked in law enforcement in Japan, and they're trained for that purpose. So they are
Interesting.
encouraged to stop foreigners to check their card to see if they're overstaying their visa, and that they're trained. That's just general training all across police departments in Japan.
Yeah.
So that's the
Which is interesting
primary.
because like that's never happened to me. I'm not sure if that's happened to you guys.
Yes, it has happened to me. It'll happen more in Tokyo for sure.
Okay, well, Tokyo, that makes more sense because there's definitely more like foreigner support there.
I will say that it only happened once to me out of the 3 years. It happens more to others. It depends on how you look like, right?
it depends on the places you are because there are more suspicious activities going on over there, maybe.
Or how you look, right? So
How you look, yeah, of course.
and that's most like you don't look like a threat, right? So you're not if you there's a certain kind of look that they're like the way I don't know how they teach them, but even I can look at foreigners and think, okay, I don't know what this guy's about, right? Whereas you get like a bunch of people from the UK, they just look, like unassuming, and they're just usually just talking to each other or whatever. But if you really stop and look, which I didn't really do too many times because I wanted to mind my own business, but every once in a while I did just kind of like I had to wait for someone or whatever, and I would look around and you get some weird looking stuff, man. And then I did see police officers stopping foreigners. This was mostly in Tokyo for sure, and you could tell. You would look at the foreigner and you're like, okay, like it kind of makes sense why they stopped that person, right? Like what they're wearing, it looks like they're gonna go rob a bank, and like they're trying to cover a lot.
Wearing the green headband mask and everything with the swirls.
Dude, almost practically almost like that. I'm like, okay, I would look at them and be like, why are you wearing that? Like you're just asking to be stopped. And yeah, it would usually be people from, a lot of them were from Asia, actually not even Chinese most of the time, right? It was like other, places in Asia. And I don't know if somebody didn't tell them, yeah, you shouldn't like dress like that because you're gonna look suspicious or whatever. But yeah, so when you tell me that, I remember reading that saying that they were going to increase like the immigration, like trying to find people overstaying their visas. I did find that interesting because I was like, oh, what are you guys actually going to further implement?
Yeah, definitely a much more serious and heavier episode, but I definitely do enjoy talking about current events and just getting your guys' reactions or your thoughts and opinions on these sort of more complicated issues. And yeah, for anyone else who is listening and have your own thoughts and opinions on the matter, if you whether you agree with us or disagree with us, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below and get a discussion started. So yes, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Like I said before, do let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are in today's discussion. I have been Andres. This has been our host, Messi Sensei, as well as JD. And as always, until next time, everyone, take care.